Hey everyone, this is Graham, and this is part of my series of tutorials for Dr. Carter's AFAS 377 class on the Harlem Renaissance. And in this tutorial, I'm going to be talking a little bit about how to plan and write your podcast for a podcast project using Spreaker. So I'm going to pull up on this screen. You can see I've got Spreaker Studio open here on the left, and on the right I have Microsoft Word open. So I'll start by talking a little bit about how I actually planned my podcast and some things that kind of worked well for me doing that. So I started with an outline that I just sort of sketched out in my notebook. I knew my topic, and so I wrote out just generally what points did I kind of want to hit? What topics did I want to talk about? And I broke it into sections like introduction, the actual project introduction, the pre-Harlem Renaissance jazz section, the during the Harlem Renaissance jazz section, the post-Harlem Renaissance jazz section, and sort of a conclusion. And I just wrote, really brief notes on all of those things so that I could sort of organize my thoughts. And then using that outline, I wrote this script here. I think that I found actually writing a script really helpful. I find it a lot more difficult to sort of speak eloquently on the fly, as I'm trying to do now. But, I knew that if I wrote an actual script for my project, that I could hit all of the points that I wanted to, convey all of the information that I wanted to, and make sure that it was high quality and that I wasn't sort of getting lost or rambling. So here's my script. You can see I wrote it out sort of in bullet points so that it was a little easier to follow as I was actually recording the podcast. And it's broken down with a few different categories like introduction. And then you can see what I think is super important and super critical about writing a podcast script is that you have actual cues for the sort of the tracks or the sound effects that you're going to be playing in your podcast. So you can see there's no real system to the color coding other than I wanted to highlight the cues in bright highlight colors so that I could actually see to do it and not forget. And then I also wrote out the time. If you watch my video on how to extract audio from a YouTube video, this doesn't really need to be in the script because the tracks that you'll be putting in Spreaker will already be the correct time. So really, this could just say play Count Bubba. So you can see I have a few pages here with points to hit, followed by things to play, and so on and so forth. So then I'll move over here to Spreaker Studio. So when I actually record my podcast, I had my tracks already lined up. And again, I have a video on how to sort of actually get this YouTube or audio from YouTube videos or to put audio into your Spreaker software. So check that out for help on that. But once you have that done, I think what's really, really, really important is that you have all of your tracks imported before you record, obviously, and then that you go through and put them in the order that you're going to play them during your podcast. So if you've written your script and the first thing I'm going to play is Count Bubba, then come over here and check that that's the first track. And if things are out of order, you go through your script and you make sure that they're correct so that as you're recording your podcast, you don't even have to think. You can just press play, go down the line. Every time you see one of these big highlighted colored lines in the middle of your script, you just play the next track. It makes it really simple to do. And I think by doing it this way, by writing an outline and then writing a script with cues and having all of the tracks and sound effects you're going to play queued up for your podcast, you're really going to be setting yourself up for success when you go to record the final version of your podcast. So I hope that helps you guys make your Spreaker podcasts, makes it a little bit easier. Thanks again for watching.